Members of the press, it's your turn to ask questions if you have any. But before you ask a question, indicate who you are and what press house you are representing. The floor is now open for questions. Somebody, okay. Yes, what's your name?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Mam Nabuka. I am from QTV. And I wanted to ask, you recently concluded a nationwide tour, I believe. So I wanted you guys to give us like just briefly what you guys did during the nationwide tour. And I heard you mention that in the next 2 days, you guys are going to hold another one. So if you could briefly tell us about that as well. Thank you.
We told you that we were going to find out from the Gambian people what they want. As far as we are concerned, in 2021, we explained a program to them on how to build sovereign national wealth in order to eradicate poverty in the Gambia. And the type of social programs, educational programs, all programs. But they voted the way they did. And after that, many people continue complaining that people are experiencing more hardship. We felt, and some also feel, that something needs to be done by political figures to effect the change. They even talked about coalitions and so on. We emphasized that we had a coalition in 2016. Change did come about. Why is it that that change has not given the effect that people would say that their purpose have been served? So therefore, that type of coalition cannot be the right type of coalition if people believe that it did not give them the type of society they had hoped for. So in that regard, it is important to go to the people and listen to what they have to say. What is their reality? Why do they think that that reality exists? Where do they go from there? And this is what we did. Every Bantaba that we found ourselves, we will first listen to them to explain. And we heard many things. And obviously, we can see the poverty. In fact, one village, just Boyra, some of our people went to a hut to try to fill a bottle. And the woman said, no, we cannot give water because we buy water. He was saying Gambian tradition is that wherever you go in a village, the first thing that they do is to bring water for you after a long travel. But now you go to a hut, they say, no, we cannot give you water because we are buying the water. Those were the findings that we saw on the way. And if you look at the speeches of the ministers, they will tell you we have provided water for 250,000 people in 2024. So we'll give them those figures and say, are you part of those 250,000? They say, of course we are not. So that's the type of conversation. You go, women will tell you, we cultivate these onions. These people will just come and fill the bags and just give us, I think, $400 or $500. But the bags will be so full, and then they take it across the border. No protection, no way to measure. They don't know the value of what they are producing. So essentially, we will be coming back after this tour to tell you concretely all our experiences. They were very revealing, extremely revealing. See poor road conditions, the difficulties that it's just hardship. It's just the hardship upon hardship. In that regard, we also would tell them what we think could be the solution. For example, you ask people, bag of rice is how much, they will tell you. Meat is how much, you tell you. And you calculate it, you see that this is about 15,000. Do you have this? Say, no, they don't have. So obviously you see that they don't eat meat, they don't eat fish, they don't eat anything that you call protein that will keep them healthy. So it's a fact-finding tool for us, and it's an engagement with the population, and we will continue, and ultimately we will be coming back to have a more extensive press conferences to share the findings with you. But hopefully those people who will also follow us, you can follow them so that what is actually said could be taken up by your media houses, and you can interview us or whatever when we come back on the ground, you'll see that you'll get more information about the Gambia. The people, the government is a government that the people elect. We are to hold them to account. That is the role of the opposition. We've held them to account in two ways. One, we do not see anything that shows that we'll be self-sufficient in food production as long as they continue to do agriculture the way they do. We've made it clear that in fact we are beginning to see genetically modified crops emerging in the Gambia. We've gone to certain places where people have grown very fine corn, but they cannot get seed. It's just that we don't want to turn the press conference into a rally. Otherwise, we have a lot to talk about. And the seed with money, how will it get to the farmers? So essentially, the ownership system, which is the family ownership system, can only be maintained if you provide them with seed, fertilizer, farming implements. And when they have that, they'll be able to produce at a large scale, and it's not charity, they'll be able to pay back. That is what is not happening. And that's what we are saying must happen in order to have sustainable food production and development. I don't know whether I've answered that issue. So that is the message, that you look at the current situation. Because we are doing research and we want verification, that's why certain facts we don't put on the ground. So look at the groundnut price. They say $38,000. But if you go, we have bird feed, that's what we are producing. That's even the question. Why should Nari be there and still, since then, Gambia is producing what is classified as bird feed for ground? Why could we not improve to other varieties? But essentially, if you look at what they say is the world market price, it's about $1,500 gross for some revelation. So the question is, how did they come to 38,000? To us, we are convinced, and we are engaged in a debate among ourselves in terms of the future of the country. We are convinced that you need a very strong farmers cooperative, and when they produce their crops, government agents will come, whether it's a public enterprise will come, and then they sit down and they talk about the world market price. Look at all the things that they have to do before that groundnut get into the world market and the cost. And therefore, verification of all the costs and then determining price. Because the government is not supposed to exploit its citizens. And it's not supposed to sit down and witness others exploiting its citizens. It is supposed to protect its citizens. So we don't believe that is happening, and that should happen. So that when the price is determined, everybody will know where Gambia is going to, whether we are going to process the groundnuts into oil, what are we going to do, etc. And not only wealth is coming from the nuts, wealth is also coming from the shell. And if you turn it into oil, it comes from the groundnut cake. So there are a lot of value added things, and the objective is for a government to protect the farmers. So there is not much conversation with the farming community on how they receive the prices of products. And that is the difference between PDOIS and this government, the government that existed before 2016, and the First Republic. If you look at all our publications, we've been challenging all this government that that is not the way to manage the affairs of farmers. But I've quoted certain things. Go and do your own investigation. We are solidified. I think you've seen the interviews. Interviews will continue with them so that they become more transparent and more open on these issues, so that it becomes a national conversation. That's what transparency is all about. The same thing you can see, the conflicts in the school system, when it started with the university. We told them, the way we intend to run a country is that the people must be organized into associations, into unions. Not to engage in any form of conflict, but to protect the interests of the members. So that if there is a problem, the union will come and negotiate. Student union will come, negotiate with administration. Staff union or association will come, negotiate with administration. Then we discuss. If those administrators are governing in the right way, conflicts will be solved. Contradiction will be solved. Look at our market. You see these women occupying all the streets. The soldiers will come, remove them, take their things, etc. It's like cat and mouse. The council just sit down and observe, and it is the duty of the council to provide market. That's what the law says. Local government action is the council's responsibility to provide market. So no right to collect duty without providing me with a market. That's what Edu Francis Small said. No taxation without representation. Here to no right to collect duty without providing me with a market. But where is the market women union? Vendors union. This is what you need. So that it's not an issue of a political party exploiting something to try to use something to be able to get to power by looking at the difficulties of a situation. No. A political party should explain its program, how it intends to do better than the existing government. But the issue of what is happening in society, society should be organized to fight its rights so that those rights can be protected. And that's how we intend to govern a country. It's a country of unions, of associations, of consumer protection associations, so that people will defend their individual rights and government will protect them and come to their support. That's why we say the state will not be an instrument of coercion. It will be an instrument of protection. That's our difference.
My name is Ishan Prime Media TV2 and King FM Radio. I want to know the PDOIS position on the gazetted 2024 draft constitution, because some political parties like the UDP have made a position known that they will not support the draft, and what does that really mean in our democratic system in this country?
Yes, you've said what you've said. It is you, Mr. Mbalo, who said at our press conference, when we don't attack other parties, it's not our volition, they are sovereign, they can take their positions. It is the citizen who should engage in conversation with those parties and their leaders and engage with us. What we are saying, the Constitution is yet to reach us. The Constitution is now in the hands of the National Assembly. And they need to be given a due respect to do their job. It is not for us to dictate to National Assembly members what they are doing. I don't know whether you are hearing us very clear. We're not criticizing others, but we are saying we have no mandate, no authority to dictate to National Assembly members on how they are to do their job. We can only share our opinions with them. And that's why a book has been produced on the subject matter that people can read and inform themselves. So this whole book, we make sure that those who matter at least purchase copies. And I must say that it is good that most, if not all, National Assembly members have purchased this book. So what is there is to say that we are not discussing content at the moment. What is being discussed is procedure. The stage to discuss content is if it passes the second reading and goes to the committee stage, then come to us and ask what our position is in each of the clauses, and we will tell you. We will take a position on each of the clauses and tell you what we stand for in that constitution. But as it stands, we have not reached that stage as a nation. We are making that very clear, that building a constitution, making a constitution requires procedure. And there are stakeholders. We have criticized the executive of not consulting properly, of taking unilateral action. We have done that. We were among the first who said when they took it out, when in fact it was not properly published in the Gazette. We followed them on that they should do it in that particular way. We followed them all the way. And at that time we called it Barrow's Constitution, Cabinet's Constitution, we call it all sorts of names, so that they see that they have not consulted properly and should not be rewarded for bringing something to us that had not been crafted out of that national consensus. But that has its part, and that is finished. It has been published in the Gazette. It has been brought to the National Assembly. The members could discuss the principles. It should not bring any controversy. There is no National Assembly of Gambia who does not believe that when that 1997 Constitution was being crafted, there was no parliament, no political party. So that alone suffices to say we need to look at it again. So the principles should not bring any controversy. And therefore, we are looking forward to National Assembly members accepting to move to the third stage, then the debate, national debate will start.
Yeah? Yes. I'm Suebu Adam from SS Media. What I will ask is that if you were in the National Assembly today and it comes to a stage of voting in it, will you vote yes or no?
What is yes or no? We are saying the second reading was passed. That was what brought confusion in that I was in National Assembly when that's 2020.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but the way you ask this question, if you answer yes or no, anybody can distort what is being said. Yes or no for what? I'm saying,
okay, for
listen very carefully. In 2020, we voted on the principles and agreed that it would pass the second reading. We would do the same thing. Anybody who is enlightened would do the same thing. That it allows the bill to pass the second stage, to go to the committee stage where there was debate. There would have been debate. And in that debate, it does not mean that the text, even the 2020 text, had many flaws. If you read this book, you will see even the flaws, some flaws in the 2020 text. That even if it passed the second stage, we would have had to recraft some of its provisions. So that is what needs to be understood. Not to just go and say, these people say they will vote for the second. That's not the issue. The issue is to allow it to pass to where we can engage in debate. Let's allow it to pass to where we can engage in national debate. Don't deprive the people of a national debate on the text. That's what we are saying. And in 2020, we deprived the people of that national debate.
Hello? Yes, any more questions? Seems that there are no more questions.
And
Yeah.
I will beg them, Uncle Sidi, let nobody go there and say that these people say that they will pass it in the second reading. Don't distort what they have said, because the people are not clear yet what is the second reading. What we are saying is, the debate starts after the second reading. So they should allow it to pass the second reading so that a national debate on the content can start. That's what we are saying, that's what you should report.
Yes.
Just to get more detailed on all the things you addressed during your statement, was this asset recycling thing, which is becoming a trend now? On the 11th, the PPP agreement between the Gambia Ports Authority and Al Baraik will come into effect. From your own point of view, do you think this is the best way of, improving the country's economic situation?
We are saying it's a reflection of economic failure. Because if you have to recycle your assets, it's just like selling also. You know, there was a privatization process in the First Republic. Companies were mismanaged, public enterprise mismanaged, and eventually they had to privatize. So the issue is not to rely on your sovereign assets, to try to get others to manage it for you so that they can give you something that you can use for development. You are tying yourself. You are not freeing yourself. Follow us in our analysis. We will show you how much is being collected from that bridge. If you were to accumulate, you will be able to buy your own ferries. And the ferries will also give you more income. You will see how you can have what you call a multiplying effect from what you raise from those resources. And consequently, you'll be able to continuously expand your accumulation, the wealth that you make, because there the ferries will make, the bridge will make, and it goes on and on and on. So you continue to accumulate sovereign national wealth. But if you take something and you give it to be managed by somebody, where are you? Suppose now, as we said, that your exchange rate continue to depreciate against you. Suppose now even the use of the facility reduces and the earning reduces. Then you see that for a longest time, those people will not be able to get their assets. And if you sign a contract, once you breach the contract, they can take you to international tribunal. So that is really not safe. It's very risky for a country. That's what we are saying. But is their own decision. But the citizens must continue to gauge whether these are the best means to develop the country. The limitation is that they are not building sovereign national wealth. They are not investing in the productive things to build sovereign national wealth. And no country in the world will be able to survive without the state building sovereign national wealth. That is a law of development that they are ignoring at the moment. But all of you should take note. In the next 5, 10, 15 years, you will hear it everywhere, all over the world, that they cannot just depend on taxation to be able to sustain development. That is not possible. Okay? We must build sovereign national.
Yes. Of course, it's right to ask us if it's a question. Yes, of course, everybody said that. Yes. Yes, chemist.
Good afternoon, I'm Denison Sir. Thanks, Bruce. However, sir, you made mention of the role of the National Assembly. They are the lawmakers. They actually just propose laws, but the ultimate lawmakers are the National Assembly. The National Assembly members that make laws. History teaches us that, you know, the first document, that is the Constitution that was presented before the National Assembly, was killed prematurely at the second reading before the National Assembly. And there's a program going on called the Constitution That We Want, and we have seen National Assembly members being invited to those platforms. And vast majority of them that have spoken or have been into that platform made it very clear that they will kill the draft Constitution at the second reading. They will not even entertain it to go to the committee state that you are advocating for. What would be a PDOIS position whether you will engage the National Assembly members to convince them, since they are the lawmakers, not to kill the draft Constitution at the second reading, but allow it to go to committee stage where the Gambian people have the opportunity to have their say in the document?
We are not better citizens than any Gambian citizen. We are not advocating for anything. Each Gambian citizen is sovereign. But this nation can only be governed through our collective intelligence. And that is why we need a conversation among ourselves so that each will reflect and determine what is best for us. I can read you a comment made by the former Bar Association chair on the book, meaning that a jurist of high caliber has read what is there. From the very beginning, we said that we brought about change democratically. We did not overthrow the 1997 Constitution. That's what we said. You people should go back and find out in 2018, 2017, 2018, who were the cabinet ministers, who were the members of cabinet, who agreed to bring that Constitutional Review Commission bill to the National Assembly. We were not part of the government. But we told them then that you want to create a Constitutional Review Commission to review everything and bring a draft constitution for promulgation. That is not the language of Section 226 of the Constitution. That the language of 226 of the Constitution says there are provisions in the 1997 Constitution which can be changed by the National Assembly, and those that will require a referendum, entrenched and non-entrenched clauses. Isn't that what we told them? That therefore, there is no need of the coalition. That also did not take place. Now, what do? For us, we are saying the procedure. It does not mean that even this 2024 will pass. We are saying is the procedure is it can go to the committee stage for us to work on it. If anybody wants to reject it, you can reject it in the third stage. That's their provision. They are the National Assembly members. What we are saying is that these people are the National Assembly members. The law gives them the power to make the law, the Constitution, to build the Constitution. It gives them the power to build the Constitution. They are also part of those who make the constitution because it must pass through them before it goes to a referendum. So that's how important they are. It's not us, it's not me, you. Whatever we say is immaterial. We can only influence them. What matters is what they do. That's what we are saying. And what they should do is already established by law. If they prefer to do something else, well, that's their own volition. Let history judge them by their decision. That's all. But we are not advocating, we are not asking anybody to do anything. Do what people wish to do.
Yes? Any more question or question?
And let me just add, in 1996, we were very passionate. We produced booklets.
We translated the constitution into 2 languages. The draft
We did
constitution
everything to educate
before the referendum,
educate the public.
simplified it and published it in series to make it accessible to the population before the referendum.
But essentially, at the end, they were blaming us that we are the ones promoting for the people to adopt the constitution. And what we were doing is telling people that if you don't have a constitution, you will have decrees. And as long as you have the decree, the military will be here. But at the end, you've seen what they, so we don't want to get back into that. We will continue. If it comes to the committee stage, well, then we can help educate people on content.
But essentially, if we understand,
So you can see we produce many booklets of this nature on all chapters of the Constitution there, analyzing what people were saying and clarifying issues. Pamphlets after pamphlets. And we were selling them for $2 so that they become accessible to the people at that time. But with all that work, at the end of the day, they were saying, these are the people who keep the soldiers here.
but I will add to what has been said. If we understand law-making process, if we critically understand that, we will also understand the fact that any parliament, not just Gambian parliament, any parliament in the world, which kills a bill before the third reading, that parliament is running away from its fundamental duty. Because it is at the third reading stage that you critically look at every clause of a bill. You can eliminate, you can amend, you can do anything with the bill at that stage. If you think anything that is there is not serving the interest of the people, you can kill it. It is not there. That's why you are exercising your oversight. So if you kill it even further, it means that you don't want to assume responsibility. That's what it means. It's running away from taking up responsibility. That's what it means. So that's what I want to just add to what has been said. Well, if there are no questions, thank you very much for having honored our invitation. And we look forward to many more of this. Now, you have been given an assignment. It's your duty to go and disseminate what you have heard. Thank you very much.